Having done a couple small form factor builds over the past few months, I'm really trying to get away from this aesthetic for 2026. When I'm benchmarking cards or GPUs, I'm doing that without Armory Crate and without Lee & Lee's lighting control software, and this thing goes full Christmas tree. Even with a more reserved lighting setup, the sheer size of this case, the fact that I feel boxed in at my desk, even at a really large desk, it feels like I'm overdue for a refresh to something cleaner. AMD recently sent out their latest 9850X3D processor too, so this seems like a good opportunity for an upgrade or two. The major limiting factor in how small I can go in my build is the ultimate in first world problems. My RTX 5090 is the Astral card from Asus, and it's an absolute unit. Foolishly, I let go of the 5090 Founders Edition I was finally able to buy at retail a few months back. I didn't flip it, I just returned it because I didn't have a need for it at the time and I couldn't justify the cost in keeping it. And it's still going to be a few months before we see wide availability on the new ProArt 5090 based on that FE PCB design. So small form factor just isn't on the menu for me right now, but we can at least go a little smaller and a lot cleaner. For parts, we have the Asus Crosshair X870E Hero motherboard alongside 32GB of G.Skill Trident Z5 Neo RGB RAM. I'll use a 1TB Samsung 9100 Pro NVMe with a fresh install for benchmarking, but I'll put my 2 and 4TB NVMe drives back in for my final build. Powering all this is the Asus ROG Strix 1200 watt Platinum PSU. The home for this refresh will be the new Fractal Design North Momentum Edition. I love the OG North. It's housed my main editing machine for a few years now until very recently. I did something I never thought I would do. Right before CES, I splashed for a loaded M4 MacBook Pro Max, and I've been editing on it ever since. We'll talk more about that in an upcoming video. This new version of the North retails at $179.99 US, so quite a bit more than the OG North when it launched at $129.99 US. It's almost totally blacked out, and that vibe starts as soon as you open the box. They've gone with a blackened oak wood at the front of the case this time around. It is still real wood. All the brass colored accents are now done in like a titanium color they call alloy. There's a tinted TG side panel and 3 of Fractal's Momentum 120mm PWM fans in the front. At first glance, these fans do seem pretty solid, and they are daisy chained to make the front install a lot cleaner, but we'll see how they perform a little later. Like the previous TG version of the North, there is no included fan hub here, and I've never been big on that exclusion. If you're running a 240mm AIO in the roof, it's not really a big deal, but if you're running fans up there, it makes cable management so much easier to have one, so I'll be fleecing the one from my old North. Luckily, the mounting points are still the same. This isn't even a powered fan hub. I can't imagine what this costs, so I'd really like to see this included with all versions of the North. While the standard size North actually will accommodate the monster Astral 5090, it won't do it with a radiator in the front for a 360 AIO. This will take a 240mm AIO in the roof, but I don't currently have a 240 on hand. So I'll be using the trusty Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 5 air cooler for the CPU and some Silent Wings Pro 4 fans that I'll be repurposing from my retired editing build. You have way more options in the XL version of this case, but as I'm trying to claw back some desk space, I'm trying to keep this build as compact as possible. I'm currently running the Ryzen 9850X3D, and when it comes to specs, there's not really a lot of difference between the 9800 and the new 9850X3D. These are both 8 cores, 16 threads, both have 104 meg of L2 and L3 cache, both have a TDP of 120 watts, both have integrated graphics, and both share the same base clock of 4.7 gigahertz. The primary difference is the 9850X3D boosts up to 5.6 versus 5.2, so I have pretty reserved expectations for performance increase here. The other big stat is power usage, with most outlets reporting like a 20% increase in power draw versus the 9800X3D. For a baseline, here's some gaming benchmarks for the 9800X3D versus the 7800X3D that I upgraded from. Naturally, you see the biggest CPU performance increases when you're at lower resolutions and lower detail levels where the CPU is doing more lifting. As you get into higher resolutions or detail levels, you see less performance difference because the GPU is doing the majority of the work, as you can see here in the 4K benchmarks, even at only high presets for most of these. I have noticed that my 9800X3D runs a little cooler than my 7800 did, so I don't think we're going to have much of an issue with that big air cooler in there. The North is always really easy to build in, and cable management's pretty easy too. I've been reusing these 3 additional Velcro straps for years from an older Fractal case. I really wish they'd just include 3 extras in the accessories. Now, when I say this case will accommodate the Astral 5090, I mean just barely. There's 2, maybe 3 millimeters to spare after you clear the mounting bracket on the GPU, which can be tricky. For consistency in the benchmarks, I kept all the hardware the same, but I did swap the memory out after when I was finalizing for my personal build. I stayed with G.Skill, but I went with a flare kit that doesn't have any RGB and just slightly looser timings, not enough to affect performance. After managing all that lighting in the previous setup, I wanted a totally clean system with 0 control software, so no Armory Crate, no Lee & Lee lighting control software, nothing for my peripherals. This RGB strip on the Astro looks pretty nice, but assuming you want to turn it completely off, it doesn't go down without a fight. Even the lighting options in the UEFI have no effect on it at all. It really wants you to install Armory Crate to control that. The best way to kill this if you want to is to install OpenRGB, turn the light off, and then uninstall OpenRGB. After tweaking some manual fan curves in the UEFI, I can get this to basically silent at idle. The fans don't really ramp up at all during torture testing on the CPU and the memory, and I'm able to maintain remain around 70 degrees or under on the CPU. In gaming, this does ramp up pretty good though, with the included fans being the loudest of the bunch with their 2000 RPM max. I have all the Be Quiet stuff set at silent mode, so it's capped at 1000 RPM. This setup does a great job of holding the total system temp between 50 and 60 degrees, even under a pretty demanding 4K gaming load, but it is loud. Ambient volume in my room is 40 dB. Under a gaming load, I saw this at just over 50. I wanted to see what swapping the front fans out for the Silent Wing 4 140 mils would do, but you're only able to fit 2 vertically in the front. The temps were roughly the same, as was the volume under load, maybe 1 to 1.5 dB quieter. Having used 3 120 mil Noctua NF F12s in my previous build, I can tell you that under load, the temps are almost identical and the sound is pretty much the same as the Momentum fan, so the included fans here seem pretty legit. As far as performance gains with the 9850X3D, it's a mixed bag between solid performance bumps, no change, and marginally worse depending on title. At 1080p, this averages to a 2.27% increase. 1440p is a similar story with a 3% average increase. This is obviously limited to my pretty short list of benchmarks, but I think there's a pretty accepted average of between 3 to 5% increase across all reviews out there. 4K gaming is basically no change, with the exception of Call of Duty doing a lot of heavy lifting in this chart. I'm not sure why this one title showed such a big leap, but I did triple check these numbers. I thought seriously about excluding it, because aside from that, there's little to discuss here. The most revealing thing is that the old 7800X3D is still totally viable for 4K gaming when paired with the 5090. We do see some improvement in productivity workflows, including synthetic benchmarks just hitting the CPU only, and those emulating a more real-world combination of CPU and GPU. So you can technically say the 9850X3D is the fastest gaming CPU on the market, but it's not really exciting by any means, and it's not hard to hold that crown when you're only fighting against yourself. Intel might be looking good in the mobile market right now, but AMD still has desktop gaming in a chokehold for the time being. Retail on the 9850X3D is $499.99, only $20 up from the MSRP of the 9800X3D, which you can now find as low as $449.99. That makes it a much better buy, and that's without even talking about efficiency. There is still some life in the 7800X3D. I've seen it as low as $369.99 lately. And I love that the socket stays the same across so many generations, so the 9800 or 9850X3D are drop-in upgrades even on older AM5 motherboards. So the mission for a cleaner gaming build was a success. When it comes specifically to the North Momentum, it's mostly a recolor, but the fans are solid enough that you'd actually use them versus tossing and replacing them like I do with the vast majority of included case fans. It's worth pointing out too that if you're coming from a previous North mesh version, the mesh side panel works perfect, both in fit and in color matching. No word yet on whether a mesh version is coming for the Momentum Edition. The pricing gives it some pretty tough competition, especially from the likes of the Antec Flux. It's a little larger and I think it's executed better than the North, but this is the only place to currently get this all blacked out aesthetic. All in, the system is louder than I'd like it to be under load. I don't really feel like I can use my open back headphones. That's something that could probably be solved going with the XL version and running an AIO, but that's kind of the trade-off you have when running in a more compact case. I am really happy with the look and the footprint on the desk. If I wanted to take this a step further, I can utilize a super underrated feature on my secret lab desk and mount my entire PC under the desk, and it'll still move up and down with the sit stand function. That helps even further with the noise isolation and gives me a lot more room for activities up here. It looks pretty sick too. This will definitely help with the number of monitor comparisons I have coming up. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all in the next one. Stay up.